And welcome back. We're picking up where we left off last time in Shadow Empire. A computer needs its robot army run. We're on round 23. We're still working towards getting the computer. The earliest we can get it, I think, is around 40. In the meantime, we're trying to secure the local area, make sure that the computer has enough bureaucrats to keep it happy, and try to work rapidly towards robots so our computer can have its robot army. It's round 23. We killed 7 infantry over the intern. We have lost 100. These were militia, so it's not the end of the world, although that militia unit is starting to get a bit threadbare. We have 4 decisions awaiting us. Under the vagrant but peaceful mutants, the time of bureaucracy has 2 turns left, so this turn and next. We're on admin level 8. And we continue to advance towards them. So each one of these territories will, at its core, have 1 asset perk, so that might be their core. It's been a while since I had the spy on these guys. I'm not sure if we ever found their core. They as well probably have a core somewhere. And yeah, I am thinking about deploying another brigade instead of specialist equipment. Still hiring up to build the stuff we're building. Farms also take a lot of people to build. 7,000, 8,000 people on construction work job. Yeah, I'm gonna grab another. Oh, I don't quite have enough, it's telling me. At least half the unit to deploy on the first. Yeah, so I can deploy next turn. So these guys are elitist. These guys are also elitist. Okay, so the second elitists just aren't interested in as much opening of the contact. Oh, it's even got even worse. Okay. I might need to get a director of foreign affairs, if for no other reason than to try to mitigate potential war. Because these guys I can sort of vaguely negotiate with. They're not really interested in being evil. At the same time, they have no interest in being friendly, so I need to be proactive if I want to delay that war. New director for the Model Design Council. You, probably. Commander of the first ASHQ. Tend not to care too much about my SHQ. SHQ can basically be commanded by any military person with a different, decent core command. Although the people that would be replacing them are all pretty bad. Oh dear. My bureaucracy might be a little big. I'm starting to pick up some of the bad feats associated with the large bureaucracy. Yeah, so we're going to make you the head. Because that greater capacity is going to train you into it a little bit better. Or do I not? Because I don't want to... The other people aren't particularly great for high command either. And you've still got 0 insight. Yeah, no, I have someone else take a job. Unemployed person.
Yes,
have a job.
Roger that, sir.
Model design. When you're designing, design. When you're not, discover.
Yes, sir.
That's usually how I roll that. What's my field testing on my infantry? 56%. It's a little early. On the other hand, if I upgrade them right now, we'd get combat armor. So it would be an armor upgrade and make the infantry a lot more survivable. Yeah, let's start developing the upgrade on the guns. No gun upgrade yet, but we can quadruple the value of their armor. I think that's worth it.
Yes, sir. Roger that, sir.
Vagrants. I don't need fist. I don't need enforcement. I'd rather deal with mind and commerce than enforcement and fist. So we'll just let them be.
I'm on it.
We get a little bit of unrest. Apparently we get unrest from telling people to not cause unrest. It's probably the best way to describe that. And yeah, next turn we'll deploy another brigade, I think. How's the construction going? Yeah, because the construction won't be done, so we won't really have the fuel to support motorized units yet. And once we get that unit fully deployed, then we should probably have the fuel, and then I can do the armored buggies and the tanks and stuff for supporting operations. Yeah, I would prefer not to start a war with these guys, simply because I'd be attacking across the desert. Something attacking across the desert is not a great plan. Anyway, the other one isn't particularly open to doing things either, but... Oh, I do have pretty high virtue. I might do the grease the machine, trade some of my virtue for political power. Not that I need political power, but we're actively gaining it and we're pretty close to cap.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, cycle the turn. And again, we are at the point where we can start seeing things these two majors are doing. We know they're touching, although the dip of non-aligned in here. And I didn't discover that metal deposit, so it's probably one of these two has discovered that metal deposit. Thinking this one. And then the non-aligned took it from them. And is the concern with having an open front like that? That one of the Mercantier, the other Mercantier would take advantage of it? Round 22, we killed 200 infantry over the end turn. We have 6 decisions. This is the last turn of Time of Bureaucracy. The Infantry have the new model to improve into. Okay, let's raise that brigade, that promised brigade from last turn.
Understood.
Workshop up more ammo. Did any of the construction finish, or are we just slightly delayed? Just slightly delayed. 2 products should finish next turn, both the agricultural dome and the biofuel refinery. So the food shouldn't be burning down very rapidly, but it might be going down a little bit. Able commander offering services. We've been visited by the former military commander of Marifel. This commander is willing to join our Imperium in return for assistance. The required favor is that you liberate his home village in 1868. Within 7 rounds. Do we make him this promise and gain his service? Or do we say no? Come back to that. CEO asks for security cooperation. No.
Roger that.
Reducing populism. Mind or fist? I'm supportive of them being less populous. Yeah. We'll say yes. Org decision. What to work on next? Come back to that one. Diplo decision. Request to control traders from Ridge Space. So this is the one we've opened. This is the one we haven't opened relations with. Their opinion is awfully low, so if we tell them no, there's a decent possibility this degrades into war. I will participate in this crackdown because I'm not enthusiastic for this war right now.
Yes.
It's still a potential it degrades into war. Now this is the other one. Phoenix bound. Requesting asylum. So I can let the asylum seekers in, which again is going to piss them off. Would drag us towards war. Although that is a lot of democracy to lose. 13 points. This is why I'm going to need a foreign affairs counselor real fast. Well, I'm not in a position to let this degrade into war, so we're gonna have to say no and just take the hit.
Yes.
How far across the border is 1868? That's a bit far. That's a bit far. I only got 7 turns to do that with a power I'm not at war with. For a commander. I'm gonna say no. This is because if I say yes and I fail, I lose word. I'm already government aligned, so I would appreciate more government. And I'm not actually appreciative of the commerce, right? So this would be a situation where it's like, well, I would like word, right? So if we could succeed, succeeding gives word. But if I'm going to fail, I know it's failure, then accepting is bad.
Yeah.
So we're going to say no. In the Model Design Council. So the Model Design Council, this is one of the ones I want to come back to check later. The Recon Buggy. New blueprint. So we'd want to give it the biggest gun. We'll give it the biggest engine. If we give it the biggest armor, we're at minus 5%. Okay, can I keep positive with a medium engine? Yes. So this planet, apparently, we've got the right stuff to run max armor, max gun with a medium diesel engine on these recon buggies. So this is what we'll run. That'll save us the fuel efficiency gain of jumping up to the diesel engine, which is going to save us like half a fuel per subunit per hex. That adds up. Because 5% action points is not quite enough for me to want to spend the extra fuel right now. This is the thing I generally don't also think about. What were the rolls on the existing buggy? So it's a little bit of a bad design roll, a little above average structural design. So some of these don't get re-rolled. For example, the base design and I think the structural design don't get re-rolled. Or is it the structure doesn't get re-rolled, but the base is added on with I think the base gets added on with field testing. Yeah, I think the base gets added on to field testing. So above average structural design. So this is probably one I want to upgrade. Usually I don't come in here and check. So as we can check on the infantry, for example. So these were base design of 98. So it was actually a pretty good base design to start with. Well above average structural design. So those are definitely ones to upgrade. Structural design is 110. Oh, I guess it does re-roll the structural design. Because it went down. Oh, we can see. So there's the original before field testing. I'm not sure. All I know is that's an improvement. So, yeah, we'll build upon the existing recon buggy.
Yes, sir. Roger that, sir.
Oh. And we just deployed those guys. So those guys are not ready to march forth. Okay. Although the next thing we can do, mass upgrade if I've got the industry SHQ. Grunt 1 to Grunt 2. We got 220 currently deployed. We can't afford to upgrade all of them at the same time. I will have to be picky. Okay. We'll do it OHQ by OHQ.
Understood.
So this OHQ is now fully upgraded. So the first infantry is fully upgraded. Okay, let's cycle the turn. Let's got some useful cards to play. Right now would be a good time for private industry. That's a commerce card. Oh no, you've got pretty high opinion, and again, you're getting a bit old, so you're probably going to start to slow down in XP gain. So I suppose the concern there is I'm going to have to start looking for a replacement. Okay, let's cycle the turn. So yeah, looking at Foreign Affairs Counselor, I'm definitely thinking I need more infantry. Because I'm going to want to have the potential to actually deploy more on the Western Front against one of those majors if they go hostile. Once I have the Foreign Affairs Council, I'll be a little bit more able to keep their opinion where I want it to be. Well, assuming I can get a decent counselor to be the Foreign Affairs Counselor as well. It's not all going to be sunshine and rainbows. Round 25, we killed 400 infantry over the end turn. We have 7 decisions. The model designer is being real fast. To be fair, we haven't had time to turn its spending down, so it's getting a lot of bureaucratic points. More than it probably should. Sure.
Yes, sir.
Capacity 3. I like. I'm half tempted to have someone else fired so you can have a job, but I'm not going to rush to that right now. Which councils am I missing? I don't have all of them, obviously. I have 5 of them, so I have the big ones, right? So I'm just missing Staff Council. The Applied Sciences, Secret Service, and the Air Force. Okay. So because of that, I've got all the ones that I mostly want to pull from General Stratagem, so we're actually going to swing you down 2080.
Yes.
So we get a little more political power. Now, the next thing I want to do, sort of like the recon buggy, I want to see what I can get on the medium tanks. I think I'm going to need the biggest engine to support the big gun and the big armor. In fact, I need to run thinner armor if I want to carry the big gun. And I do want to carry the big gun. Let's be fair. We probably, when we get the polymer armor, we'll be able to run the 50mm for polymer. Actually, thinking about that, we're going to hold off because we are actively researching polymer armor. So when polymer finishes, I can then do that in polymer. We'll do that in polymer at that point. In which case, none of these I actually want to do improvements on right now. Because I don't think I necessarily have any improvements. Well, technically, I think the bazooka is probably still running Enviro, so I could swap that to combat armor. Same thing with the machine gun. I'm not in a rush. Because I could get better armor or I could get better guns before I want to deploy those. So, yeah. No new orders. Ancient Underground Complex in Polymer. So not only we're going for the syndicate computer, we have a computer in the basement. Okay. We'll come back to this, because this is an oratory roll. So, if I have political power, we're going to give the Medal of Merit to the governor to increase the probability they succeed. We folk knocking the gates. We are Heart Alliance, we say yes.
I'm on it.
Training opportunity. Democracy is easier to get than government, so I'd rather take merit and slightly suppress democracy.
Affirmative.
Appoint a commander to the 5th Light Infantry. I want to keep you for better jobs.
Roger that.
Yeah, I have plenty of political power. So you Strat card being played on you. Double check this. The governor, yes. I have multiple medal merits. You
Yes,
get the
sir.
first one. It gives them plus 10 charisma, which should, yeah. It doesn't quite give us a plus 10 because our oratory isn't quite high enough to max out. But we're getting a 55 versus difficulty 57 with a D100. So as long as we don't roll a 1, we pass the test.
I'm on it.
Rolled 121 versus 57. The AI gave me a long discourse on high galactic ethics. Finally, the AI shared information that allowed our scientists to discover side skirts. So, got a discovery out of the way. So now the discovery roll is not rolling for side skirts. It wasn't the highest value find. High value finds right now would have been something like resonance scanner, ammo compactation, laser rifles, or charge gauss. Are the big four that I'd be on the lookout for. If I got laser rifles this early, I'd probably just give up on physical weapons. For the near future, because I want to run down to robot soldiers. And laser rifles and robot soldiers just goes well together. Robot soldiers need powers upkeep, laser rifles shoot power. If you can make enough power, the robot soldiers go burr. And then I wouldn't have to worry about ammo on the regular troops, if that were to happen. Also, laser rifles are better than charge gauss, until charge gauss picks up some of the physical weapon bonuses like heavy explosive ammo or hyper explosive ammo and actinide tip ammo to buff it above laser guns, laser rifles. So there is a use case. We don't necessarily have that use case right now. And yeah, from diplomacy, you're at 17. I don't think. Yeah, until we get the director of foreign affairs in. This is a gamble. Although actually, this is a gamble. It's easy enough to do. Supreme Command Council. Counselor. Strat card. Leader. Shadow Diplomat. Director. SCC.
Yes.
You are to open contact.
Yes.
Successfully. There we go. Still, no guarantee they won't declare on us, but lower odds. You have the industry to upgrade the 2nd Brigade. I do. So do it.
Understood.
2nd Brigade's upgraded.
Advancing.
Oof. This is the first attack that's just gone horribly.
Abort mission.
Well, it could have been worse. We lost 4 subunits, defeated 4 subunits. I guess I just recruited up 10 replacements, so it's the army's still growing. It could be worse. And then construction. Agricultural dome facility done. Biofuels done. We'll see on the next turn if that's how that's affecting food. Should be up in oil. Not so sure on the food. High Command Palace is continuing to construct. Should be done with no delays.
Yes, sir.
More credits invested in the zone. And hold on to the 2nd medal merit until we get our Director of Foreign Affairs. Increase that sales
Yes, sir.
tax. Let's do bureaucratic pushes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It'll provide or put a bunch of bureaucratic points into the system. I tend to find, at least on slow game speed, that's not super valuable, but when we've got lots of political power and want to research things faster, that's not terrible.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna retreat for an opinion buff. Governor convention
Yes, sir.
for an opinion buff. Although I don't necessarily need the governor one, I suppose, because we've got one governor and they were at max of happiness. So it's just a little more XP for them. Okay, cycle the turn. And we're watching the Mercanteers, I suppose. They're the ones that are most likely going to do things that catch us off guard. We're actively at war with these guys. Sort of neutral. Majors, at least when you're in neutral, respect your borders. And then obviously we have the empty, or very loose picket against the non-aligned up north. Round 26, we have 2 decisions. We're now in a decade of revolution. Technically we were last turn, but I was only paying attention to this one. High autocracy profile would help diminish, but, well, we're not autocracy. The Economic Council has discovered deep core mining. Okay, so I've got what I need to research to get the 4 I need to get into the next tree. National budget allocation. Except that the Supreme Command Council is at 40%. Would like the Interior Council to be like 10. The model design to be like 10. And then 20-20 split between the research councils.
Wilco.
I don't have metal soil filtration or high-tech industry, but I've got what I need to get the 4th in machinery. And I want sermatization done for just power. Although I might swap to deep core mining. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to swap back to 50-50. Well, we were never on 50-50, but swap to 50-50 between these two.
Yes, sir. Standing by for orders. Yes, sir.
Anyway,
Yes,
let's swap
sir.
over to deep core. The reason is we're trying to make the run to robotic soldiers, so if I need 4 in machinery, 4 in automation. So deep core gives me the 4th in machinery, so I can start discovering automation. Automation techs, specifically the automation techs in automation, is really good. 100% more mining, 100% more logistics, 100% more industry, 100% more farm. Well, this is hydroponics farms, so not dome farms. That's the only problem with this one. Although if you've got both this and a mass food pool, then the hydroponics actually get really, really good, and you can stack hydroponics and the dome farms. So, yeah. The automation decks would be great in here. Ultra capacitors also be good, especially because we're going robots and potentially laser rifles. If we go robot laser rifles, ultra capacitors are great. Odds are still pretty bad. I'm gonna bring in the motorized here to try to help.
Advancing.
No dice, although a lot closer. I lost 5 subunits, destroyed 4. More of the units are on the verge of retreat. Third, because it's out mostly on territory that isn't, where we're trying to actively expand. Sort of on passive picket duty at the moment. I think I'm gonna have these guys sort of not get the upgrade. We're gonna skip the third and go to the fourth. So the remaining members of the fourth that haven't received, well, haven't been destroyed at this point. Upgrade to Grunt 2. 180, or no, 46. 184 weight for the 46 mass upgrade.
Understood.
And yeah, I can do the third on the next turn. Suppose I can do a bunch of... Is the fifth all upgraded? I guess the fifth was made in Grunt 2. That would make sense. Fifth was made in Grunt 2, so all the reinforcements are Grunt 2. Okay. So then we're looking probably at mass upgrade for what's left. $101. What's the... I'm missing some grunts. First is done, second is done, fourth is done. Unless I had... Oh, well, I might have had... Yeah, okay. We had logistical issues. They didn't all get deployed. HQ, Grunt 2...
Understood.
Yeah, so we had like logistical issues or something like that kick in. Okay. Or didn't want to upgrade the units that were previously fighting. Not sure. We'll revisit that next turn. How's the construction going? So it's good to see that the food's positive. Yeah, everything's going well. They're cold, but that's acceptable. And then these guys are cold. I'd like their opinion to be better, but no real dice there. I haven't had any complaints about the taxes being too high. Although, actually, I'll wait until we get a decrease income tax, and then I'll raise the tax, just in case it does put it too high and we start getting people grumbling.
Yes, sir.
Take another bureaucratic question in the meantime. Yeah, I have no, like, bronze or no retirements. So we're not going to retire / hire anyone. Fuel's relatively valuable, and I have decent positive on that. So let's actually crash the price and generate some revenue by selling fuel off. Okay, so we're going to cycle the turn, and then we're going to try to do another round of upgrades. I'll hold off on attacking these guys for next turn, so we can get them upgraded. Or more upgraded. They might not fully upgrade. We'll see. And we still haven't had the event associated with the syndicate computer. None of the factions yet favor the syndicate computer. To be fair, we can't swap the syndicate computer until 40 turns in anyway. So it might be that's actually when the event at the earliest drops. I wouldn't be surprised. Okay, looks like it's rolling back around to us. Nothing interesting coming off the Mercanteers, which is how we like it at the moment. Round 27, suffer no losses, nor made any kills. We have 3 decisions. Guided RPG. The other Mercanteer declared. Okay. Charismatic Union Chief wants to raise worker wages again. Again, we are government. I will appreciate a little bit more government heart, so we'll accept. I suppose eventually I can just lower the worker wages, because the city loves us at the moment. Demand the release of a spy. We will return their spy and refuse payment, so we get some heart. I also don't need 1200 pound right now. Mind or enforcement. I'm feeling heart is easier to get than government, so we're gonna give
Order received.
to elite snipers. Okay, well if they've declared on us, we're gonna start moving on them. They may not have realized that their territorial integrity was contingent on them continuing to stay neutral.
Understood.
Okay, so every unit that hasn't upgraded at this point is due to logistical issues. .5 turns remains on that high command palace. Let's go ahead and I'm going to grab a truck station upgrade to help with the logistics. Yeah, these guys are obviously suffering some logistical problems, so those I would have upgraded. We'll give them another turn to regain some more readiness before they carry out another attempt to clear the pocket. I think this is pop happiness, not worker happiness. So it won't help when I go to lower their wages. Let me grab a civilian. How many unemployed leaders do I have? One. Decent one at that.
Yes, sir.
Recruit that civilian. Cap 2 would make a decent researcher with Trade 21, Science 13. Not that I need one of those. Yeah, starting deep core, we're up to 27 on polymer. I think that's the turn. I think we're gonna go one more turn at least here in the stream. Maybe two. See how quickly the end turn cycles. Yeah, if I can deal with this guy, then the three that I've got from down here, engaged up here, can come rolling in to help with this. I think we're in a position where we're actually likely to have pretty good effect shooting up the Mercanteers. I actually think the Mercanteers might be a little under-equipped in comparison to the Marauders. Because we saw that they were like 11 attack, 22 defense for soft attack. Oh, cut the road off, but that isn't too much of a problem. Although if it has enough readiness to do that, that probably means it's a bad time to be attacking it. Suffer a loss of Stormy kills, we have 4 decisions. Round 28. I got another grease the machine, so I can trade some virtue for political power. Okay, I've got my decreased income tax, so I don't fear rolling increasing on it. We're running mind and government. I don't want commerce. We're gonna say no, that's your business. I'm gonna roll my tax law. I think I'm happy with the ones I've got. So we're gonna kick this down to also 1%.
Yes, sir.
CEO has an emergency. I don't want to deal with the danger, plus Help Corporation is also government, so we will help the
Roger
corporation.
that.
Ridge Space foresees war. The buzz in Ridge Space is that we're preparing for war with them. Well, arguably no. But there's not necessarily much I can do. Although in theory I get a word increase if I say yes, so we'll pay the extra political power. Difficulty 140, roll 74. Did not impress them. Our relations turned to hostile. So yeah, that situation is going to decline. So in this case, they think we're preparing for war with them, except we're really preparing for the presumption that they are probably going to start something with us. Not necessarily that we want war. $20 to 1? Even getting the second one at 9 to 1. I think that's worth taking.
Yes, sir. We're going in. Mission completed.
$37 to 1.
Yes, sir. We're going in.
We aren't getting off scot-free from a casualty perspective, but these are successful attacks. And we've taken the zone perk, the fertility hill, so the city will now grow one extra population unit, which is 100 every turn. Not a terrible perk, to be fair. Shop, give me 500 something bullets.
Understood.
And I will take another swing. Upgrading unupgraded grunts.
Understood.
Definitely far less than we tried to do, so that's probably all the ones that logistics could support, which is why we're improving the truck station. Yeah, I think we'll go for one more turn before we bring the stream to a close. I definitely feel like we could be in worse straits than we are right now. I don't think we're necessarily doing super good from a major standpoint. We're not in the lead or anything. But we're not at threat of losing. Although we do have 2 hostile majors that we're potentially going to have to deal with soon. Although, we're on slow development speed. And we are on an advanced start. We're on a Tech 5 start. So we're at the point in the tech tree where the AI tends to bog down anyway. So they're not likely to have run off ahead of us in tech. Very much. Although, I wouldn't be surprised if it picked up Gauss by now. Or Gauss by now. Gauss? Gauss. Gauss by now. They probably don't have charged, and they almost certainly don't have heavy combat. Heavy combat needs polymer. That was the first thing we started on in the military, so... They might be done with polymer, but I don't think they're going to be done with charged. Or heavy. Because they're going to start with like basically the same decks we did. And then the big thing the AI gets is they get a little bit more bureaucratic power. I think they get 50% more than you do on hard. And they start with all their councils unlocked, which is good and bad, because that 50% bureaucratic power gets spread out over all the councils. That's one of the reasons they tend to get off to an early start and then bog down in the middle of the tree. Because they basically research things in the order they get them. Round 29, we killed 200 infantry over the intern. We have 4 decisions. Still in that Decade of Revolution. This is a long Decade of Revolution. We have discovered the medium tank. I can now call in minor favors. I need a bunch more political power, which I don't right now. We want to introduce portraits into schools. I am heart, I am not merit. I don't want fist. So we reproach the reader for asking, because that's a weird thing for heartful democracy.
Order received.
We'll come back to that decision. New org. So this wants to be the Foreign Affairs Council at this point.
Wilco.
Do I want to develop medium tanks? Probably. Although I'm working on polymer armor, so the same logic applies to the light tanks as it does to the medium tanks, where I probably want to wait off until I get polymer. Because, yeah, we're looking big engine, big gun, minimum armor is the right movement speed. We're in negatives already at 25 mil. Really want to run even more, and these are medium tanks. They're probably fine if they take an action point penalty in comparison to the light ones, but this is what the light's going to be running when we're in the polymer. We probably want to be running that, and that's getting pretty bad. You even really want to go up to there, and yeah, okay, so these want to wait from polymer. We'll do whatever we can make with polymer. Polymer is as light as it's going to get. So we're going to say no. Enact the Universal Medical Care Law. Sir, on the initiative of the Justice Knights, the Parliament is holding a vote whether to enact the Universal Medical Care Law. We do not let anyone rot away in the gutter. Proper health care will also include a focus on fertility. That's the big boost, I would argue, which is the 30% population growth. Cost bureaucratic power, so it's going to slow down the bureaucracy. We have picked up a 3rd political party, so we're now up to 3 parties. The Justice Knights is overwhelmingly controlling Parliament, so they sort of vote for everything. They're merit, heart, government. That's maybe why we're struggling to, you know, run democracy as much as we'd like. Because the big party is merit, but we'll lean back and let it happen. Gives us some more democracy. Anyway, we are going to attempt to get these guys out of that hex.
Advancing.
Now they break.
Yeah, right.
There we go. Construction, the truck station, and the high command palace are done. I think I'm probably still struggling with logistics, so it may be worth trying to do truck station 3.
Understood.
Just to sort of future-proof it a little bit more. And then, as far as the bureaucracy is concerned, until the capital gets up to size 5, we're capped. Until we get a new area. The other thing I could do is start to seal some of the roads. Because of the high-tech start here, we did start with sealed. Yeah, we started with sealed. How much would it be? Mass upgrade, SHQ. So I'd like to keep 400 of my industry around. Let's... signs. So you're past distance there, so we'd probably benefit from you being buffed. Or sealed over. You're... Actually, the truck station's running as projected when it's level 3. That's kind of ranged there, so I'm not too worried about sealing up that way. Same thing, not too worried about sealing up that way. Not really too worried about sealing up that way. Okay, so out to the front over here is where we want the sealing to be. So that the front's pulling less. So it's freed up for other things. There we go. So that'll give these guys more supply without necessarily taking it from elsewhere. Yeah, this is, I think, where we're going to bring the stream to a close, unless I can think of anything else to do. I don't really need the political power. Don't need the approval of the governor. Although, actually, a little bit of approval in government wouldn't hurt. Let's roll you.
sir.
Takes up to 95. I've got the card for increased sales tax and decrease. We'll roll the
Yes,
increase. We got the increase off. So if they start complaining about high sales tax, I can turn around and hit decrease income tax. You know, I'll hit both
Yes,
these,
sir.
just get some approval.
Yes,
And
sir.
XP across all the cabinet
Yes,
members.
sir.
Do
Yes,
a period
sir.
push. Yeah. Do I need more fate points? I could toss out the security outpost, but I could toss that out regardless. In fact, I should probably toss that out at this point. Because I'm at the point where I can generate more fate points. Yeah, so until I generate more fate cards, I think we don't need more fate points. So we'll hold on to that political power. Yeah, I think things are going well. We started in polymer armor, 40% through it. That's 8% into deep core. Deep core gets done, we can start doing automation. Once polymer is done, we can discover heavy combat. And of course, I've either got laser rifles or Gauss on the mind. One or both of those would be good to research. Well, if I find laser rifles, then I'm less interested in Gauss, because it's not... Gauss won't be an upgrade over laser. Because we'd have to run to charged, which is a deeper dive. So let's look up on how various things are going. So, Emperor dashboard, we're up to 73% word score. Virtue score is holding up pretty well at 93.2. Political system, to change the syndicate democracy, which is what we'd like to do, we need tech level 5, which is why we started on 5. The syndicate faction, which hasn't spawned, should have minimum 25% of the vote. Hasn't spawned, so it can't have any vote. We need to have more rounds passed in the democratic system family than 140 minus the faction's attitude. Having no attitude is obviously means that factions that are opposed to... I think it's opposed to government. Are are opposed to it. So it's actually sitting at 155 or 154 that we need to do. Once we get the syndicate faction, because we need 20% of the vote anyway, that'll come down. And I'm hoping that it will be the faction that has 97% of the vote. You know, in which case that'll drop to like 40 something turns. So we can't do it until 40 turns are passed. And I'm hoping we'll be able to do it around 40 turns. Virtue report again. We're currently not winning, so Virtue is going to be pretty stable at high numbers. And we are Landalar. So we started the stream around about 6 out of 11, and we have returned to about 6 out of 11. So we haven't moved up the podium. We haven't. Well, we did drop down the podium, but we've recovered. We're back up to where we were on the podium. So we're sort of being competitive with most of the competition, although we're not the front leader yet. And we're definitely in a position where if stuff went well, we would very rapidly probably turn into the front leader because everyone is moving slow. We were, I think, as far down as 10th at the worst, and we know where number 10 and number 11 are. So we know who the worst are. In fact, one of the worst might be about to start stuff with us in the next stream. We'll see, because these guys have gone hostile. These guys are cold, so we can probably postpone stuff. Even the hostile one I might be able to propose stuff if I get enough Foreign Affairs Counselor. But yeah, this is where we're going to bring this stream to a close. So if you're watching on YouTube, if everything goes according to plan, there should be another part up tomorrow. I'm going to go over the schedule for Twitch, which will include when tomorrow's part is being recorded. Actually, I suppose this is going to be in the YouTube video at the moment because Twitch is still out in an ad break. Sorry, Twitch. But yeah, so right now the schedule is today was Shadow Empire, tomorrow is going to be Old World, Tuesday is going to be Factorio Prenodons, Wednesday, which is normally when Shadow Empire would have been held, we actually pushed it back a day, so the poll had more time to complete, but Wednesday is when we're going to have the second day of Shadow Empire, so if you're watching this on YouTube, this part should be, I think, Friday's part, so the next part should have already been recorded for you by the time this is going live. So you should be able to expect there to be part up tomorrow. And if you can't wait till tomorrow, you can sneak over to Twitch and watch the Twitch VOD. It should still be up for the 14 days after the stream. Next Thursday is going to be Solar Expanse. And then next Friday should be probably whatever has replaced Old World. Assuming Old World was finished. If Old World hasn't finished, Friday is going to be Old World. So that's the upcoming schedule for the next couple days. I'll go over that again for Twitch, because I think Twitch is just coming back from the ad. But I'm going to finish the outro for YouTube here. So until the next part, I am going to wish you all the best of luck and a good time. Catch you all in the next part and or stream, and bye for now.